So in today's class, we'll start with a new topic, VPC. So what is this service about? Anyone? I mean, this falls under which domain?
Networking.
Networking.
Right. Network. Virtual, private, cloud. So you see in the, oh sorry, this belongs to network. So in the beginning, first two classes, that means today's class and tomorrow's class, I'm not at all going to touch the AWS side of VPC. First, I'm going to teach you the basics of a networking. So you have to listen carefully. Say basics of networking we are going to deal with in the first 2 days of class. Actually, I could start straight away the VPC as per AWS because that is enough for you for cracking interviews and for getting your even answering questions in certification. But without the basics of a networking, at some point of time you will be having the doubts whenever some small issues comes. That's why first two classes we are going to deal with the basics of networking. So networking is a domain, like how security is a domain, networking is a domain, database is a domain, like that. Networking is also domain. In that also, we are not going to deep dive. We are not going to deep dive of a networking concept because networking is an ocean. If you have to learn only networking, you need to spend almost 3 to 4 months courses are there, some big courses, which they deal exclusively with networking. Being a cloud engineer, no one is expecting that much networking deep dive knowledge, deep in-depth knowledge. How much networking knowledge is required? Being a cloud engineer, only that much we will be focusing on. Right? Only from third class onwards, we are going to start the proper VPC in terms of AWS. But before that, today in tomorrow's class, let's talk what is networking, what are the different components a cloud engineer is expected to learn when it comes to networking. We'll discuss all those things. Okay. So what is networking? Next question. Why we use networking? Network or networking, anything. You have network, right? In your mobile, what you say sometimes if you are unable to talk to other person, what you say? Network is
Communication.
right. So networking is for communication. So how we are getting communicated? Either that can be mobile or laptop, desktop, anything, any electronic gadget, any electronic device. How we are able to establish communication between two or multiple devices? By
Connecting devices.
connecting them. So that connection can be through wire, that can be wireless. That doesn't matter. The aim is connection. So the connecting and communication, both are the two words which you need to say when someone asks you what is networking. Because without connecting there is no communication. Only connecting, if communication is not there, there is no meaning of that connection. So both are important, connection and communication. Simple. If anyone asks why network, what is network? So now let's see the components. As I said, I have this. I will be sharing you the PDF document also. Whatever the theory things we are going to discuss, I will be sharing PDF separately. So let's start with this definition. So networking, it's a connection between two or more machines to communicate with each other. Since here we are focusing on mostly the servers, these things, that's why I said machines. But in general, networking means not only machines, any devices, which is having ability to connect and communicate. As I said, there are many components in networking, but out of them only few are important for us being a cloud engineer. So out of them, you see these 5 are important. That means these are expected out of you being a cloud engineer. Networking components, NIC, network interface card. What is this, guys? Anyone know? NIC. Have you seen anywhere? Or have you heard of it anywhere?
Yes, sir. Ethernet card.
Right. So do we have for our systems? I mean for our laptops or desktops. Do you see that anywhere NIC?
Yes, sir. While connecting the internet wire, I mean, jack. It is there.
Right. Yeah. So everyone, it is there in our device, guys. Maybe you don't know that its name is that one. So beside that charging point, let's say if you are having a laptop, beside that charging point you have one plug, right? Where you plug that in Wi-Fi cable. I mean, if you are trying to connect Wi-Fi through wire, where will
Yes,
you
sir.
connect that wire? Yeah, that big one, female socket one, that one. That is NIC, network interface card that we call. So since it is used for communication, Ethernet means it's a form of communication. Ethernet they say. I will show that. I'm moving further. ETH they say. So that is NIC. Next is media. What is media? Not this TV channels news. Media.
Videos.
Media is nothing but medium, someone in between. So how it is? So internet is somewhere, and this is your laptop. So who is connecting in between? Something, whether it's a wire or wireless, whatever the technology is, that is called media. Medium. Actually, wire they're talking some. There are some cables. RJ cables will be there. RJ45, RJ11. These things. Media means nothing but wire. You can say very simple as that. It's wire. Next is topology. What is topology? Anyone from networking backgrounds like having CCNA certification? Okay.
Topology means protocol.
No, protocol is different. The next point is protocol.
It is a structure of network.
Right, correct. Pattern, design or pattern of connection. That means in your office or in your project, there are so many machines. Some can be cloud, some can be on-premises machine. How you're establishing connection between them? In which pattern are you establishing connection among the machines in your project? That is called topology. There are many types. I will show in the next slide. I am going to elaborate each and every point. Then I will show you clearly. What do I mean by different styles or different patterns of topology? Okay, it's topology, it's not tropology. Okay, that stratosphere, troposphere, that is different. That is geography. This is topology. And then protocol. Yeah, what is protocol? Right. So where did we hear in our general lives this word protocol? Have you ever heard while they study news in the news? Sometimes they use this word protocol, but only on some occasions they will be using this protocol. Yes, of course the meaning is rule, but in real time the word they use, this word they use only in certain scenarios they will be using.
For the public emulation details in the
Right,
college.
right. Any these VIPs, the big persons visiting some public areas, they come for attending some public meeting. There's a security protocol. So we have to follow security protocol. That means all the vehicles of that VIP should be maintaining a speed of 100, not less than 100. That's the protocol. They should not stop everywhere. It's a protocol, and they should make sure the distance between normal people and you, it should be somewhere this much feet. So these are all protocols. They call security protocol. That means the rules. And then finally, IP addresses. So what are IP addresses? Just like how we humans have, we have some names, right? If someone has to call me, they call me Raven. Like that, if someone has to call a mission, how they will call? with the help of IP address, because machines don't have names like this, right? They have numbers, and that number we call it as IP. What is IP full form?
Internet protocol.
Internet protocol. So let's see one by one in the. So you see network interface. Yeah, these are basic, as I said, basic requirements of network. The first one is network interface card, NIC. So it's a computer hardware. Like I said, it's a hardware that a socket, female socket, where we plug in that Wi-Fi cable. Computer hardware component that connects a computer to computer. That means one computer with another computer, which are into different networks. Next, each NIC will have a unique MAC address to avoid conflict between same NIC adapters. What is MAC? First of all,
Physical address.
Media access control.
okay. Otherwise, is correct. Media access control. Why we use it? Okay. Okay. Let's say for systems, it is
Uh,
MAC. So it is MAC. What is similarly what we call for mobile? So let's assume you have lost your mobile. So you went to police station for filing a complaint. So what are the basic details they'll ask about your mobile?
IME number.
Right. IMEI. This one number is enough for lodging a complaint. Without this, we can't lodge a complaint. Why IMA? Why? Because this is unique. No matter how many devices are there on this earth, on this planet, these IMA numbers will never conflict. Even when you buy any dual SIM mobile, I don't know how many of you observed. If it's a dual SIM mobile, there will be two IMA numbers. That means how many ways of communication are there, that many IMA numbers will be there, because you have two SIM cards means you can communicate separately. With one SIM card you can communicate, with another SIM card also you can communicate. That means it's a mode of communication. So each mode of communication is having its own unique number, which is called IMA number. Similarly, when we talk about laptop, desktop, server, PC, so how is what is a unique number? So I bought a laptop, something HP company, some model name. Apart from that, what makes my laptop unique from others? If suddenly they have kept 10 laptops of same model, new and everything side by side, how can you identify which one is yours? With the help of MAC address. So whenever this is a unique thing. So that's why they're saying each NIC will have a unique MAC address to avoid conflicts between same NIC adapters. That means, let's say you and me, we want to connect our system, whether that can be through Wi-Fi or LAN cable, that is different. We want to connect. If both of our laptops is having same MAC address, there will be definitely a conflict. Can you have one mobile number for two persons? Can they call each other if both persons are having same mobile?
No.
No. Same simple example. So here let's assume MAC address is something phone number, and to conflict between same address means two persons having same mobile number. So why did I say why we use this NIC for the connection? So we call Ethernet KVC. So in Windows we have one command to see how many connection. I mean how many ways you can connect. I will show you. Anyone know the command to see how many ways of connection is there? IP config. The command for Windows is IP config. If yours is a Linux machine, if config. So this gives a basic networking details of your machine. So you see something they have given. What is my IP address? What is something gateway they are calling about? Other than that, you see Ethernet adapter. That means how you are getting connection established with the help of that Ethernet. So let's say if I am having two Ethernets. Two Ethernet means I can at same time I can connect to two different networks. Right. So if you have one Ethernet, that means you can connect at any time only one machine, one another network. So what do you think is, can you connect to two networks at a time from your laptop? Have you ever tried? Let's say you already connected. I already connected to someone Wi-Fi, something else from Wi-Fi is there. Can I connect to another Wi-Fi without disconnecting to this one? I can't connect. Why? Because I have only one gateway. I have only one gateway of connection. Only either I can, at any point of time I can connect only to only one other different network, not two or this called Ethernet. Next is media. As I said, media is nothing but medium. So it is a medium via which two different computers NIC card will be connected. Sometimes you see, I don't know whether you played or not in my engineering. I used to play this game, this Counter Strike. So where we have to play on this LAN. If 10 people are there, we all used to connect to the same router, that thing, and we used to connect. Sometimes there will be a lag. Why? Because 10 people are connecting to same router and we are playing some graphics game. So definitely there will be a more load on the network and we used to feel lag. That lagging will come, right? Interrupting while playing the game. But whenever 10 people are on, let's say only two, me and my friend were there, we used to connect straight away with that LAN, that where we connect the plugin, that Wi-Fi LAN. There won't be any lag at all. And most of the advantages directly if you connect with wire is it will be very fast. Not only now, no matter how much technology comes, wired connection is always faster than wireless. Even you can observe that in our general regular day-to-day life. Whatever you are connecting with wire is obviously faster than wireless. Why? Because wire is a hardware component. So definitely you can't beat the speed of a hardware component. If something is physically attached, obviously it has more speed compared to virtual thing. So it is a medium via which two different components will be connected. For example, I said that names of the actually it's a wire only, but the technical name of that wire is RJ45 cable with a RJ11 cable, like that. They say the name of the cable, the technical name of the cable. They say like. And next is topology. As I said, it's a design or style or a pattern in which the computers in your network will be connected to each other. I will show you so that it will be clear for you. Okay, this is something like topology, how we are connected. So you have many machines in your project or in the company, whatever it is. So how we are connecting, whether you bus pattern, point to point pattern, ring, mesh, star, like that. So there are many patterns. How we are connecting, bus, star, tree, ring. So we don't take this decision. But as I said, we are not a networking people. We don't know. We just have a basic thing. Topology. If someone asks you tomorrow what is topology, you are in a position to explain. Okay, it's a pattern or style of establishing communication between the machines in your project, in your network. That's it. How we have take, how we can take a decision whether it's a service. That is not our thing. It's a networking domain people. They take that decision. That's why I said in the example that bus, ring, star, mesh, and tree. And then, yeah, protocol is that define rules and conventions for communication between network devices. So, what is rule and what is convention there? What is the difference between them? Are both same? I mean, in general, meaning nothing different. English words. What is a rule and what is the convention? Rule means something you have to follow for sure, compulsory. You should not drink and drive. You should not cross. You should not jump a signal. Those are rules. That means you have to follow that 100%. What is a convention? Convention means It's a best practice. It's a good habit, you can say. That means there are some convention. That means if you do this, it is good for you. If you don't do this, that is up to you. Like let's say wearing mask because of this corona situation. Earlier it was a rule. Slowly it became a convention. Of course, now again it became a rule. Like that, rule and convention. That's the meaning. So here, how can we define the rules and this convention is in the form of ports. So how we are getting securing our missions with the help of security group ports. How many ports are there completely?
4,
I mean, a number of ports, I mean, 0 to 65535. These many ports are there total. Out of them, we will be using some of them which require depending upon the software you are installing, depending upon the type of communication you want. Each type of communication, each type of software is having its own port. So accordingly, we use in our security ports so that we will be able to communicate with that software which we have installed in that particular machine. And finally, IP address. There is nothing technical in it. An internet protocol address is a numerical label assigned to each machine to the computer network for communication. So how you communicate with me? You call me Raven. Similarly, if I want to communicate with the machine, I will communicate with the help of its IP address, just like a phone number. So these are some basic components. So out of this, let's discuss about these two because there is nothing much technical to explain in these three. This much is enough for you. But let's talk a bit about in depth about this protocol and IP address. Why? Because moving further in this VPC concept in AWS, we are going to focus much time on these things, protocols and IP address. So let's talk about protocol system. What are these guys? What is this? Like something TCP, this side UDP. Have you seen anywhere first of all, or have you heard or seen these things? While practicing, have you seen in AWS? In security, when you're practicing a security group, okay,
Yeah, so ports like 2280 we have said.
right. So in security group, what are the four columns we have? Name, I mean type, something like SSH we will say, and then number will be there, and then here some type will be there. TCP, UDP. The drop down will be there actually. I think we did not. By default, everything will be TCP actually, but in the drop down, if you select, you can change UDP also will be there. One more option. That means yeah, by default it's TCP. So that means every day, whenever we are practicing all these days, we are using TCP. So first of all, as I said, these are nothing but both are ports only. So let's say 22 number is there. 22 have both TCP, 22 is a UDP also. This is the port number is constant guys. This is a mode of communication. You see, mode of communication. Port means through which mode of network your traffic is going on. So which is latest and which is old one out of this?
UDP is the latest.
UDP is old one. TCP is latest. So not right. Actually, by seeing this, you will understand that. But usually, actually, we are using as of now in current market TCP. I mean, in some communication they are using UDP, but it depends upon the type of communication. So if you have to know why that's the thing, let's talk about the differences, then you'll understand eventually. First of all, TCP means, I mean, the abbreviation transmission control protocol. UDP means user datagram protocol. It's just an abbreviation, nothing technical in it. And then, so it is connection oriented, it is connectionless. What is the meaning of this? Connection oriented and connectionless. Mm. So actually, if I have to explain at this point, it is dependent on this. Yeah. So now, okay, so say third point, then automatically answer will come for second point. What is the meaning of this? This TCP acknowledgement will be sent or received. What is the meaning of that line?
It's like the server request response we are getting like status like 200 to 400, 500 something
Right, right.
server.
So what you said is something
There is a
else.
message passing system.
Yes. So same like what I will say, not reply exactly. Let's take example of WhatsApp. Okay. So in WhatsApp, let's say I have sent you some message. I have sent you some message in WhatsApp. If if it is only single tick even for 1 hour, 2 hours, what does that mean? Message is not even
Seen.
delivered. Single tick means. Double tick means message is delivered but not seen. Similarly to blue ticks means delivered and seen. So what are these things? Is this any reply? Single tick, double tick. Is this reply? No. This is called acknowledgement. Acknowledge means you are having some information about the message which you sent, whether the message has been received or not, whether the other person has read the message or not. That is called acknowledgement. Reply means if he or she replies on top of that message back to you, that is called reply. So don't think reply and acknowledgement are same. Both are two. A slight difference is there. This is the difference which I explained before that. So similarly here what they are saying, in a TCP mode of communication you will have an acknowledgement. That means let's say I am trying to access google.com. Whether the Google server has received my request, whether the Google server is replying to my request, I will get to see that. I will get to know that. Why? Because my mode of communication is through TCP. Whereas if it's a UDP, you have to ask the other person. So I will have to ask other person. Just now I sent you a request. Did you receive it or not? I have to confirm through other source. Maybe I should call him or message him or mail him some other thing. Why? Because you can't see directly like how you are able to see in TCP mode of communication. In UDP mode of communication, you can't see the acknowledgement. That means you can't see whether it's received or not. You have to confirm in some or other way. So how can you show? I'll show you that example. I can show you that also. So how can you connect to google.com? I mean, not connect exactly. To check whether your system is able to connect to Google or not through CLI, through command line. What is the command?
Ping command. Ping command.
Ping.
Ping. Ping means they say right in you ping me in WhatsApp, ping me in Gmail, something like that. Ping means messenger. Ping means just try to communicate me. Ping me, message me. So let's say ping google.com. Are we getting some reply or not about our message? Who is the server? This is Google server. I think. Don't expect this will be same always. This will be changing. So that is something different concept that we will discuss about later. So first of all, you got some data about some information about your communication. So you see how much bytes is transferred, how much time it has to, it takes time to live, all this. So how many packets you have sent, how many packets you have received back from Google, is there any data loss? 0% loss. So approximate round trip. Round trip means this is my laptop, this is Google server. I sent google.com and Google sent me some back reply. So the total time taken for this traffic, this life cycle of this traffic, we call it as round trip. And how much time it took? Minimum 46 milliseconds, 47 milliseconds, average is 46 milliseconds. So you see, this is all complete information about my traffic. And how? Why did I get this acknowledgement? Why? Because my mode of communication is through TCP. So whenever you have a doubt, what is your mode of communication? Simply you can text with this. When you do like this, if you did not get any information about your traffic, that means it's a UDP type of network. But whenever you are getting any information like this, it's a TCP. As simple as this. And then The communication is slow. When it comes to TCP, the communication is slow, whereas the communication with UDP is faster. So example of TCP is HTTP and HTTPS. This is DNS or DHCP. DHCP means Dynamic Host Control Protocol. So you see, we are always just whenever you are launching instances, whenever we launch any instances, one public IP and one private IP is coming to the machines, right? Who is giving that? Who is assigning those IPs automatically whenever you launch?
Yes.
DHCP. This is a server actually. DHCP is a server. The full form is Dynamic Host Control Protocol. So this DHCP server, which is maintained by the AWS in the backend, this takes care of generating and assigning random IPs to a machine. Whenever a machine gets launched, this DHCP server makes sure each machine is getting a random IP. What is HTTP? HTTP? How we are accessing everyday websites, all these things. The network layer, which network communication you are accessing through Google.com, Facebook.com, or through
HTTPS.
HTTPS, online HDFC, online SBI, or it's a secure layer. So it's a mode 80, port 80 and port 442. So what we are using in our daily lives? TCP or UDP?
TC.
TCP.
Okay, TCP. That means even though it is lower communication, but why we are using this means this is a
Secure.
secure layer. You see guys, IT is all about data and its security. Data and its security. Even though there is a delay in 1 minute or 10 minutes or 10 hours, it's okay with them, but they don't compromise when it comes to security. So that's why even though it's a bit slow communication process, but it's a secured one. That's why we are using in our daily life HTTP is on TCP. But where we are using UDP means something internal. That means your traffic is not leaving your network. What is happening is here is HTTP means traffic is coming from across the globe. I don't know, maybe a person from Germany is trying to access my website from Pakistan or from some Russia. When a website is there, website is accessible globally. So definitely so much of traffic from different countries is coming. So definitely I need to make my web server very secure. That's the point when TCP comes into picture. Whereas UDP means within the network, internal. Let's say your team is developing a Zomato app within your project only. I mean your project itself is developing a Zomato app. So no one will try to access Zomato app while it's in a development stage, right? So how many environments are there in IT? What are these? We call them as the technical name we call them as, yes, who are from IT you know, but other most of you maybe you're hearing this word for the first time. Environments. So how many types of environments means there are development, test and production. So by seeing the name only you can understand. Any product, even not only IT, just say outside, let's say they are inventing some thermometer, right? So straight away they invent like let's say medicine. They invented this vaccine, COVID vaccine, right? So did they immediately launch that vaccine into public directly without developing and testing it? No. Any product, any product that can be health or electronics or mechanical or civil or IT, any product in any technology in any domain, first they will develop the product. After developing the product, they will test the product, whether the product is really working fine or not, whether the people can use, the public can use it safely or not. Only then after confirming, then only they will release into the market. That market for usage of public is nothing but we call it as prod. In short form, we call it as prod. Full form is production. Okay, so remember this. This is something like general knowledge you need to learn moving further once you join in companies. So when I say where we use EDP means within the project. That means whenever you're developing within your project. So in this scenarios we go with UDP. Why? Because while developing I have to do so many development and testing activities multiple times. So I want my communication to be faster. And somehow there is no issue of security because everyone is within my project, everyone is within my network only, no one is outside my project. So that's why in that scenario, I give preference for speed instead of security. That is UDP. And then finally, this is all about IP addresses. Just leave it. So how many IP addresses are there? Guys? It's okay. What is the first IP? At least what is the first IP? I want the number of first IP.
Oh, IPv4 and IPv6.
Okay, insert something. IPv4 and IPv6. This is also answered, but not the answer for the question I asked. What you said is
Uh,
right, actually.
the IP would be like default 000 that we have seen many years with HTTP
Right,
servers.
right. That is the first IP. The first IP is 00. This is the first IP. What is the last IP?
255, 256.
256 round.
255.6. That means these many. Actually, this is a range. You see, this is complete range. So first IP is 00 and the last IP is 255.0. So what is the range when I say 6? See, what is the next IP? 01. Like that, one day it goes to 0 to 55. So again, after that, series starts 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 to 56. Again, finally, one day it will go to 1 0 0 0 1 0 to 55. Like that, 1 0 0 0. Finally, 1 0 0 to 55. And finally, one day everything will be to 55. That means this many number of IPs, this many number of missions you can launch. That means only that whenever you have any device, each device has its own IP. So that can be somewhere around in this range. But actually not in this range. There are some more rules and regulations that we are going to discuss. First of all, how many types of IPs are there? IPv4 and IPv6. Which is new one, which is old one?
IPv6 is new
IPv6
one.
is new. IPv4 is new one.
IPv6 is new and IPv4 is old. How can I say? First of all, so whatever these IPs you see, this is IPv4, IPv6, something, and not only this one, let's say 170, 30, 10, 15. This is my IP address. So by seeing, how can you say whether it's IPv4 or IPv6? How many digits are there between 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And what is the language understandable by computers? Yes, we speak English, some common languages.
Binary.
Binary.
Binary means 0,
Zeros are
like that. So whenever you want to mention anything, everything the computer will understand in the language zeros and ones, 0 0 something. So each character, so 172 is defined understood by mission in some 8 characteristics like that. Here 8, here 8, here 8, here 8 digits, binary numbers. So total how many? 4 into 8. That is. So what architecture this follows? IPv4 follows 32-bit architecture, whereas IPv6 follows
128.
128-bit architecture. Even our SIM cards also nowadays everything became 128. Earlier it used to be those also 32 or 64 bit. SIM cards now also everything is 128-bit architecture. But we don't know about that. We just know only SIM card. But in SIM cards also there is architecture 32-bit, 64 and 128. So now let's discuss it. IPv6 now also we are using it. Even in security groups, if we go, it will be something like this. When practicing in security group, try to give that in the type all IP anywhere. In the type we have 3 types, right? only my IP, custom, in the drop down, everywhere. Three options you have in security group. Try to select everywhere. That means they will give, it will generate two options. One is IPv4 00s and another is IPv6 00s, like this. So it's just a format. That means both are IP. This is IPv4 format. This is IPv6. Maybe some companies, some projects are already started using IPv6. So there is nothing technical difference in that. So why they invented IPv6? What is the mistake they have done here in IPv4? There is a these are limited. You see, I know the first one, I know the last one. That means there is a limit. But how many devices are there on this app? In these days, in today's days, in every house we are having 3 4 laptops. So like that, how many millions and billions of people are there on this earth? And for each person, at least on an average, you keep two gadgets like laptops or desktops. So how do you think whether these IPs are really sufficient or not? Definitely speaking, 100% sure these IPs are not sufficient. But then how we are able to manage that? That we'll discuss in tomorrow's class. That's a kind of suspense you can do. But here the difference is, so the mistake they have done in IPv4 is the limit of IP. There are limitations for example. Whereas when it comes to IPv6, the number of IPs is unlimited. That means there is no limit. So any number of devices, any number of IPs will be keep on generating. That is this unlimited. That is the advantage of this IPv6. So now it's okay. Somehow we are not going to use IPv6. I think it will still sometime. Something like you can assume something like 5G, 6G technology. We just know the name. We still did not start using. We can think IPv6 or something like that. But somewhere like how 5G is being used already in US, 5G is in use, but in India it's not in use. Similarly, IPv6 some people are using. Maybe some projects are using, but we are not using it. Maybe tomorrow once you join the company, that project is using, you also will use. There is no technical concept. There is no course to learn to use IPv6. It's just a number. The only thing is the format will be a bit different. The number format. So now let me list out this IPv6. So we have discussed there are so many IPs, right? 0, 2, 0, 0, 2, 255, 255. That means, so total how many ranges are there? So don't think someone said before the last IP is 256. The last IP is not 250. The last IP is always 255 only. It's just a range because it started with 0 and ended with 2.
We count zero.
Yeah, 0 also is 1. So 255 plus 1 is 256 ranges. So let me list out. So you see guys, there is a no proper meaning. If I simply dump all the IPs in one place, there is no meaning for it. Tomorrow some people will ask, what is this IP? What is the difference between this IP? Something 10, 172, 30, 10, some other person will come and ask, what is the difference between these IPs? There should be some difference, right? Simply I can't dump all the IPs everywhere. There should be some differentiation between some series or some numbers, some logic should be there. So that is the reason why they have divided, they have classified these IPs into different classes so that it is easy to identify them and easy to differentiate them. So the first thing is something will start with 0, 0, 0. And 0, 0 and 250. Next class. finally class. So you see, these IPs, complete ranges, have been classified into three classes globally. In anywhere on this earth, if you talk about these,
Raven, A should be 127, right?
yeah, that I will say. Yeah, it's not 120 exactly. There is a big concept there that I will explain in a minute. Just remind me one. So yeah, these total IP ranges they have divided classified into five: A, B, C, D, E. So why they have classified? What is the reason? Now we'll discuss. So out of these, which are reserved IPs, reserved classes,
E and
you see D and E are reserved classes. These are reserved both. This one. So what is the purpose? What for what purpose these are reserved? Class P is reserved for
development and research.
multicast type of communication, whereas class E is reserved for yeah, just research and development R&D. So who will do R&D? Who we call them? We call them as scientists, right? The scientists people will be there. They will be doing some research and development. So let's say they have invented some mission, like they have invented some new electronic gadget or some electronic device. So how can you test whether the communication is happening with that new mission or not? You need to assign some number, right? You need to assign some IP address to that mission, and you try to establish communication from another mission. So you see those people they don't have that much time. So there is no reserved class, again they have to cross check which IP is available. Then only they can assign to that new mission whatever they have invented, and then only they can check. So that's why they don't have that much time. That's why government, this global organization who is dealing with these IPs, they have reserved some set of IPs for this research and development, so that they don't waste time for searching whichever IPs are available for testing their new mission. Same example, you have you traveled in on these highways, the toll plaza will be there. Have you seen one line will be always reserved, no matter how much traffic is there in another lane? One line will be always reserved. They won't let anyone go there. Why? What is that line for purpose? It's for emergency situations. It's a reserved thing for ambulances, for any VIPs coming. It will be always reserved like that because they don't have time, because no one knows when emergency situation comes in. So they just prepare for it in the form of reservation. Same is the case. So that's why you see this D and E, whenever you see any IPs in this range, starting with 224, 239, 240, that means 241, 242 like that, these are reserved IPs. That means these are belong to something, any government, any country's government. So
About
usually,
200, about 200, sir.
yeah, not 200 because here 223, but about this one, 224 you can
Okay.
about 220. So if you see anywhere this one, you can think someone is trying to, if someone is trying to tracking your address, I mean government. So usually in our daily lives, we will be working only on these three ranges, A, B, C, A, B, and C. So that's why you see, since these are result things, the range is also less here. Let me write. The range is less here. So here, how many range of purchase we have here? 125. Here you have almost 160, 192, 30. But whereas when it comes to result, we have only 15 and 15. Why? Because obviously so many people are there. Most importance will be given to the public. Not for reservation should be there, but there should be limitation. Okay? There's no limitation. 125, 56 and 30. So that is, I mean, that is the reason why class E is reserved. That means research and development for this and this. What is multicast? Means cast, not cast. Cast, multicast. It's okay. First of all, how many types of communication are there? Different types of communication. Okay, I said answer. How many types are there total? 3. Now you give me any example. What is a unicast? Or anything? What is a broadcast? What is a multicast? I think we all hear one word out of these 3.
Broadcast.
Where did we hear?
In television.
Right. Television, radio. We call it as television broadcast, radio broadcast. So what is the communication here? The
One
mode
to
of
many.
right, right. So here the communication is between one to many. That is called broadcast. Yeah. Now what is others? What do you mean by unicast? Now what do you mean by multicast?
Cast means 1 to 1.
Okay. Unicast means yeah, one to one. So what is example?
Telephone.
Telephone. Okay. Others? So for what is multicast? Yeah, unicast is one to one. Okay, fine. What is multicast?
Many to one.
Many to one.
Many to many.
Many to many. Yeah. It's actually not many exactly. Yeah. What's the answer is 1 to few. That means I want only some set of persons. The communication should be private only between us. That means others should not hack and listen to what I am speaking within our team.
Privacy.
Right. So what are some examples? That walkie-talkies, this is satellite connections. This is the what is the walkie-talkies of the security personnel, the PM, CM or any politician who the wherever the security persons are there. How they talk with each other, all the security people. It's a secured line. The network is only between them. No one can interfere within their other. No one can hear what they're speaking. Only they can hear among themselves what they're talking. So that is 1 to few. Unicast is 1 to 1. Broadcast is 1 to many. So this class, these results are multicast. That means, like I said, when you want to have some network which is private to only some set of a group of people that can be within your organization, anything. So that is multicast. So the example I have given some satellite communication, walkie-talkies used by security personnel of the VIPs, all these things. That is multicast. For that also they have reserved. That means these IPs. So whenever you see that IPs, they can understand immediately for global level. Okay, these IP. That means the communication between these IPs are between some security people. It's a private IP. Maybe some businessmen, security persons, or something like that. So now if you observe carefully, yes, someone asks. So something is missing here, you see. It starts with 126, but here it started with, I mean, this is ending with 126. Whereas here it's starting with 128. So what is missing? Something in between?
127.
27.
Loopback address.
So one range is missing completely. One range is missing completely. So out of this range, there is one IP which we are interested in. What is that IP? What is this address? We call this IP address. We call it as we call it
Loopback address.
loopback. What is the what do you mean by loopback? I mean, why we use this IP?
Gateway.
No, not exactly. Uh, so moving further, whenever once you started working in companies, if you open any software configuration files, okay, using that editor,
that text editors will be something like VIM, these text editors. If you open any, let's say you have installed, what is the web package we install all these days you are practicing? HTTPD. So there is a one default configuration file, something like http.cfg. Somewhere it will be generated in that etc folder, somewhere in etc httpd. There will be this folder file called http.config, something like that. If you open this file, some not only in this any software in the configuration file of that software, you will be seeing one IP called commonly in every software configuration files. You see commonly IP called 127.0.0.1 at some places, at some places in the line, in between the line. So the first of all, that 127.0.0.1 means it's a loopback IP. So loopback means nothing but
Self-command.
same yourself. Loopback, let's say I am Raven. How can I call myself another? I with another name I should call myself. I will say 127.0.0.1. If you say 127.0.0.1, you are calling yourself. Something like that, exactly to speak about. So let's say I want to call myself Raven, but at the same time I won't call with Raven. I need to use some other way to call myself as a Raven. So I can say 127.0.0.1. Okay. Even you see, there are some IT t-shirts. They will be selling the t-shirts. They will write on the t-shirts that print "I love 127.0.0.1." That means I'm loving myself. So you can call yourself as 127.0.0.1. That's it. So why they are mentioning in the software configuration files means, you see, the same software you want to install maybe in 100 machines. So you can't manually update that IP of the each and every machine going into 100 machines. You can't change the IP of each and every machine's IP in the configuration file. So simply, instead of manually setting up the IP of different machines, what in the configuration file they have mentioned, the persons who have invented this configuration software configuration file, they have simply mentioned 127.0.0.1. So the meaning of 127.0.0.1 means it changes as per the IP. So let's say I have launched an EC2 machine. The IP of that machine is 10.10.20.30. Another EC2 machine 10.20.30.40. So when I install any software in this machine, 127.0.0.1 means 10.10.20.30. When I install the same software in another machine, 127.0.0.1 in this configuration file means 10.20.30.40, like this. So no need to worry about that. Just as I said, we don't discuss that much deep. So just remember, 127.0.0.1 is nothing but itself, same machine. So the technical word of that we call it as loopback. That's it. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. That's all basics about this. On top of this, we are going to discuss much more general topics on this thing, about what are different types of IPs, why, when we use which type of IP, all these things. So as I said, some doubt is there. So already what did we discuss? This is a limited, right? 002 to 55 to 59 limited. Already there are so many devices on this earth, but how we are able to manage? So for that answer you will get tomorrow. We'll discuss that answer. Any doubts you can ask me. I'm done with today's class. If you have any doubts you can ask. Okay guys, have a nice day. We'll meet in tomorrow's class.
Thank you, sir.